I done got in trouble again.
I tried, man. I'm back. Peace talk.
I done got in trouble again.
Yeah.
I done got in
I try to pretend that I'm different, but in the end, we're all the same. All the same.
You know, it's Mr. Bucket List, and I'm thinking I'm back. Welcome to my first celebrity cruise. Also, for those who may have a sharp eye and keep up with cruising content, I'm sure you probably noticed, but welcome to my first somewhat of a vlogger's cruise. Now, before you get excited, I'll just give you a heads up right now. Well, actually, I'll just let the song speak for me.
Y'all snitch lovers, I might speak, but I don't fuck with nobody.
Now, before things get taken out of context, folks, it's not that serious. I just like the lyric to that song, and I wanted to use it. But in reality, this was a solo cruise, so I like to showcase my solo adventures, so there won't be anyone really, other vloggers that were on the cruise in this video. Outside of one, there was one person that actually invited me to try this cruise out, so if it wasn't for her, I would never even heard about it. So we actually did hang out and got some drinks, so I'll make sure to throw her in there and show her channel and things like that. Now, with all that out the way, newsflash. This is the adult style type of cruise that I expected and wanted out of Virgin Voyages. Folks, when I say I love this cruise, oh my god, I have so much to say in these couple of days. I'm trying to condense it all, but man, it was amazing. I know I'm jumping the gun, but this cruise is fantastic. Now let's get into the check-in process. As you all saw earlier, I mean, just walking in was easy, no lines, no craziness. The terminal itself is nice and new looking. The organization was on point. I think we sat down for maybe 15 minutes once we got to the little seating area, and then after that, pretty much just caught us by each section, and we were able to get on the ship. Altogether, I was very impressed and very just pleased with the check-in process with Celebrity Cruises. Now, as usual, I always aim to be the first person on the pool deck. One, because I just love being up there when no one's really up there. And two, I have to take my famous thumbnail of me standing over an empty pool deck, usually with a drink. And so I had to kind of do a mixture of both. I had to run to the pool deck, which I did. I skipped using the elevator. I just ran straight up. And then two, I had to find a bar that was actually open. So I found this gentleman right here. I was letting him know, hey, I'm a YouTuber. I'm trying to get a drink so I can take this picture. He was laughing about it. He was saying it was cool. He was explaining to me how new the ship was and how we were the second guest on there because the inaugural sailing was right before ours. So he was like, it's a big deal either way. So it's pretty cool. And of course, here goes my shot. As usual, yes, I was the first person on this pool deck as... Look at this view, y'all. This is a beautiful. So yes, even without being in a suite and not having any type of priority boarding, I was still one of the first people on the pool deck. And that's one thing you all will notice during this cruise documentary. It's going to be more focused on the ship more than the excursions and things like that. We only went to Nassau as a 3-night cruise, so not much new. If you want to see what Nassau has to offer, I have plenty of other documentaries that show that. This is more about the ship. So after getting the thumbnail for this video and just walking around the cruise ship a little bit more, it was finally time to check into my muster station. This time was actually in the theater, and so it's pretty cool because I was able to get like a bird's eye view of the theater before things kind of get crazy for shows and stuff like that. And even this theater, oh my god, it was about my room. Now for this particular cruise, I ended up getting a solo infinite veranda room, so I was pretty excited. But unfortunately, this led to the only issue of the entire cruise.
Incredible, incredible, incredible.
Just extra room. This is really nice. I mean, this is really nice. And as you all can see, this window goes down. So I'll go ahead and give you all a tour of it in a little bit. But before I do, this is the pan of the entire room. So boom, not bad at all. Okay, so now when it comes to this, let's go ahead and try to bring this down. I believe it's the one on the right. Let's see. It is. So you just hold this button right here, but bang. You now have balcony. Alright, so we already have issue number one. For whatever reason, my veranda will not go up. I don't know what's going on here. So I've tried all. Also, as you can see, this wall is kind of flimsy. So I mean, not only do we have a cheap button that's not working, but the wall's pretty flimsy. Now before we get to the issue, this room was great. You could tell it was nice and clean and modernized. It had plenty of plugs and USBs and things like that. My room steward told me I was the first person to ever occupy this room, which was amazing. I've never done that before. So it was a perfect size for a solo, and honestly, if you want to have somebody else in there, you can easily have 2 people in there. And again, this is a room that does not have a single solo supplement on there, so basically you don't have to pay double for it. So unfortunately, and this has nothing to do with this particular cruise, but more with the cruise line itself, Celebrity has taken a stance where they really don't necessarily want that many solo travelers on their cruise ships. And so they have this new policy where they can charge up to 300% for a solo cruiser. So basically paying 3 times the normal rate, just because apparently they said they're losing money on solo cruisers. So that obviously I do not agree with whatsoever. Very disappointing. And that's honestly, again, not necessarily with this cruise, but something to be aware of. Now look what happened to my room. It was just so weird. I mean, I put the window down to make sure it worked and kind of get the fresh air and stuff like that. And then when I tried to put it back up, it wouldn't work. And unfortunately, when you have the window down, it's almost like having the balcony room door open. The AC stops working, and it was pretty hot outside. So, I mean, my room ended up being like 82, 83 degrees. I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, this got to get fixed. And so eventually, we did fix it. The issue was if the sensor has any type of oil, grease, dirt, anything over it that covers the sensor, it automatically stops it from working. And so when both myself and my housekeeper or room attendant put our finger on there to try to rub it off, the oils blocked the sensor and it didn't work anymore. And so just kind of be aware of that. That did suck, but again, that was my only issue with this cruise ship. So after unpacking in my sauna of a room, it was finally time to head to the Celebrity sail away party. I could not wait. And neither could the rain, because we got rained out. I don't know what it is about these freaking sail away parties, but I either miss them or they end up getting rained out, which causes everybody to miss them. And this was no different. Now I will say it did have potential. I mean, it did play this song. Oh my God. They are playing the thong song on Celebrity, y'all. This is ridiculous right now. Any sail away party that plays the thong song, 10 out of 10. A+ in my book. But yeah, that happened. And so, I mean, I did go outside for a little bit and I watched the sail away. Then I sat down in the solarium for a little bit. I just kind of rotated, but wasn't that big just due to the weather. Now it was finally time for dinner. Now, one thing that really piqued my interest about this particular ship is they had 4 included dining rooms just for regular guests. The suites have their own restaurant called Blue or something like that. But for us, we had 4 different main dining rooms that were all included. And they each had signature items as well. And so for me, I almost was in a conundrum because this is a 3-night cruise, but I wanted to try all 4 of the different restaurants. But somehow I made it work. So the first restaurant I went to was a place called Tuscan. This is the Italian restaurant that's on board. And basically the way the dining rooms work is they all share the same menus, but then they have one page that has signature items that you can only get this particular restaurant. So it's my goal to almost get those particular items in each restaurant as I went. Tuscan, the meal, the service, everything here was fantastic. And I mean, for example, just starting off with the bread, I've never seen bread come with different dipping sauces and things like that at any restaurant, land or sea. So for them to come with all this different stuff, I was like, wow, this is also next level stuff.
It's a couple of things I can't honor, man.
Now, after that phenomenal meal in Tuscan, it was finally time to head to my first show in the actual theater. Now, as usual, I always go early. I want to get a front row seat, and so that was nothing new here. What I like to do as well is kind of position myself to the side, just depending on what type of acts are taking place. This actually had a piano almost in the middle of the stage, so I wanted to make sure I sat on the side so I can get him if he turned around and started singing and stuff like that.
Gentlemen, welcome to the Celebrity Theatre for Showtime. Please, let's welcome to the stage your cruise director, Luigi.
All right, Celebrity Ascent, come on, let me hear you. Come on! Ladies and gentlemen, how you doing this evening? Let me hear you make some noise. Come on! Yes, I'm Bob, I know you're so bad, so I'm a wild one.
It was good. It was really good. Now, what I did enjoy was that he did the type of music that I don't necessarily listen to on my own or put in my videos, things like that. But at the same time, I mean, the performance and just the effort that they put in there was extremely good. So I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the show. Now, speaking of music, tonight was a disco night. And as you all know, I'm a huge disco fan when it comes to disco on a cruise ship. So there was no way on earth I was missing this show. But it didn't start until later on, so I really had some free time, so I just kind of walked around the ship. And when I walked around, I ran into this. Need a better shot. Y'all, look at all these people for the silent disco. This is nuts. I've been to like maybe 10 of these things, and I've never seen this many people. This is crazy. This is wild. This was one of the best silent disco parties I have ever seen on any cruise ship. I mean, it was just weird. I'm like, this is celebrity. And just in the middle of this atrium area, which is one of my favorite areas, I'll show you all later on in the video, they always had something going on here, no matter what, always. And it was just so cool to see all these people having a good time, just hanging out and chilling. Just, man, I'm like, this is fantastic.
I don't wanna hear it no more.
Okay.
After hanging out at that silent disco party, I eventually made it to the disco event that was in the area called The Club. And it was just different because usually when I go to these disco parties, they just have like a DJ playing disco songs and people come out and dance and stuff like that. But this actually had a live band to it, which is something I've never seen on the cruise ship before. And it was just, I was like, man, okay, I can dig this. And it was just pretty cool.
Good evening, you groovy dudes and disco queens. I hope you're ready to get out of your seats and boogie down at the club.
Now, the part I was curious about was they had a live band, but I didn't see who would actually be singing. So I didn't know if it was a female, if it was a male. I didn't know what was going on. I just heard the band play. I'm like, well, who's the artist that's going to be singing these songs, or is this going to be instrumentals? I was kind of confused about it. But then I saw this individual like going around and looked like he was almost harassing people. I'm like, why is somebody got their drunk uncle going around messing with people? And then I realized, oh, that's the singer. Oh man. So yeah, this was the guy. It was just it was funny. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I ended up warming up to the guy just because he was putting his effort into it, and regardless of how he sounded, it was a good time. I had really enjoyed the performance and the music. Just altogether, the vibe was just on point. Now, usually that would be the end of the night and I would show some pans of the ship and stuff like that. But before I do want to show that when I came back to my room, I had this waiting for me. I'm just like, what is this? Y'all, Celebrity is so ridiculous. They done gave me a dang wedding band. What is this? Let me turn the light on. What? Like, what is this? Complimentary jewelry tracker. Why? So just after my first day, I can say that, whew, boy, do I love Celebrity.
Talking lights, camera, action. And me singing, I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. Turn it around, let me see something. Hit me, the rhythm's gonna be something. Hey, I'm talking lights, camera, action. And me singing, I'm sorry, Miss Jackson.
When it comes to Nassau, I've been to this area so many different times. So long story short, I decided to sleep in. Well, let me take that back. So I woke up early to see the sunrise and just to kind of see the views, and then I went right back to sleep. Now, the unfortunate part about this was when I went back to sleep, I forgot all about my balcony breakfast that I'm kind of known for. And so when I woke up and I remembered, it was just kind of too late. So what I ended up doing was getting the room service lunch, which was still very good. Check it out. So it has been a while since this happened, but once again, so after I finished enjoying my balcony lunch in my bathrobe, fully naked like usual, I decided to lay back down, and the way the veranda works is there's like a little screen, and then there's also your windows and stuff like that. And so I really didn't think about it. I just laid down and just went to sleep for a little bit. And then when I woke up, I'm like, what in the world? Out of nowhere, this random cruise ship is right beside us. And it just is so weird because I didn't hear it. And it wasn't there when I was initially eating my lunch. And so that kind of caught me off guard. All these people could see in my room and see me while I'm in my bathrobe, and I just cougared the entire cruise ship. So that was a nightmare. But outside of that, it was still a good time. Now, I did want to see the Celebrity experience as far as getting off the cruise ship in port. And so I did go through that. I didn't necessarily have anything planned in Nassau. I didn't want to spend much time out there, but I did. And as far as getting off the ship, it was easy. Even the area to get off the ship was nice and clean and beautiful. Usually can't record in these areas, so I'm not going to show too much, but it was just really nice. Now, when I was out in port, I did get to see that cruise ship that snuck up and parked right beside us, and just also just the size of our ship and just how clean it was and elegant it was compared to that cruise ship. And then to the right side of us was actually Oasis of the Seas. Now, the cool thing about this was, again, this video was recorded back in November. In December, so literally a couple weeks later, I had a group cruise planned on Oasis of the Seas, which I ended up doing. You all eventually will see it was a phenomenal cruise. We had such a great time, but it was pretty cool to see Carnival, Celebrity, and Oasis all at the port of Nassau. Pretty dope. But my God, our ship was just beautiful. Shout out to my Team Carnival subs. So after just casually walking around the ship and just really taking things easy, it was finally time to have dinner. Now this was the lobster night, and so I decided to go to this restaurant called Normandy. Now this is number 2 when it comes to the included restaurants, and this actually has a French inspired menu and also has the classics as well. Now again, this is lobster night, so I didn't really go too crazy with trying out new stuff, but I did get the lobster and also the beef Wellington, which were amazing. Not to mention, I love how both Celebrity and Royal has the actual, the different staff come and actually cut up the lobster for you. Like the guy was doing my shrimp with cocktail sauce. Same thing over here. It's just, it's phenomenal. Now, while I was eating dinner, I was seated beside this couple, and this actually happened quite a few times on this cruise. And the lady beside me, she asked, she was like, "Are you okay? You're by yourself?" and stuff like that. And I was like, "If you only knew, I'm a solo cruiser, a solo vlogger. This is what I do." And it was just like kind of blowing her mind. So if you're watching this video, if you remember what my name was and watching this video, it was very nice to meet you. And I'm assuming either your husband or boyfriend. It's great to talk to you all, meet you. Now, after dinner, it was finally time for my next theater show. This time it was from a brother named Jesse Hamilton Jr. And I could just tell just by the promos and stuff like that, I knew it was going to be a good show. And so, of course, I ended up getting my front row seat. I actually sat beside some individuals that found me on Facebook. So again, if you all are watching this video, it's nice to at least meet you online and sit beside you. Hope you all enjoyed the show. But I got my little drink, of course. I rarely drink, but when I do drink, it's usually either at the pool deck or at the shows. And here it is.
Which way? Okay. Okay. Hello! I was born by the river. Ladies and gentlemen, one of my best friends in the world is here. She's a fellow guest entertainer. And you will sing the chorus of this song. You know what's coming. Miss Asia.
Y'all, this show went down. Oh my god. I mean, he just was so good. I mean, even when my boy pulled out that clarinet, I was like, "Oh shoot, Andre 3000, better watch out." Like, my guy was getting it. Like, it was such a good time, and I just loved how he got the crowd going and people standing up, and he came and sang beside his best friend that was sitting right behind me. It was kind of weird. I didn't know what was going on. But all together, I was like, yes, like these shows are getting better and better, and it's just, I thoroughly enjoyed that performance. Oh man, now this is one of the biggest surprises of the cruise. So they had a deck party, and usually when they have the deck parties, I'm either too tired or it's just boring. There's always something going on where it's just not that good of a time. Or in my case with Virgin Voyages, if you watch that video, you know what happened then. But it's just never been a good experience. But something about this just felt like it was gonna be right, so I got dressed up for it. I got pretty excited. I was ready to go.
4, 3, 2, 1, here it goes, everyone!
Oh man, when I say I was everywhere for this deck party, I was everywhere. It was such a good time. And I actually kind of felt bad. So again, this was almost a vlogger's cruise where there's a lot of different other vloggers. And they were just so focused on getting content, they really weren't having a good time versus me. I was just, man, I was like, I'm just doing my thing. And it just kind of made me kind of think about how I really do want to start this transition of not necessarily focusing on content, but more focusing on having a good time, because you can get wrapped up in it, and I'll kind of expand on it more. But I was able to kind of see what I do from a third person view, and it kind of sucks. But what didn't suck was this party. Woo! And by the way, look at the cougar, y'all. I see it too. My goodness, what a night.
Rapidly pill, make it. We gon' 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 I learned the game quickly.
Now, before I get started on what's usually one of my favorite days on any cruise ship, I do have to let you all know what took place on this particular day. Now, like most experienced vloggers, or honestly just vloggers in general, I do use a gimbal for my camera while recording. Now, unfortunately, when I started this day off, which usually, again, I do these tours of the ship at like early in the morning, so it's about, say about 5:30 in the morning, I noticed that my video looked a little bit lopsided. I'm like, what is going on? Long story short, one of the motors in my gimbal actually broke, and it broke immediately when I started my tour. So, I mean, I honestly didn't get more than 5 seconds of footage before it kind of went out. So I said, you know what? It's whatever. The show must go on. So I just record everything handheld. Now, even though I was pretty disappointed about what took place with my gimbal, I mean, I was just blown away by the elegance and sheer scale and class of this cruise ship. To this day, I will say that MSC does make some of the classiest cruise ships, especially when it comes to like the staircases and things like that. I mean, yeah, they look like malls, but they still have this elegance to them that I really do enjoy. Celebrity has the same type of elegance that I've been missing. So unfortunately, when you go on cruise ships like Ascent the Seas and Quantum, stuff like that, Wonder, and even Icon, they have that classy look, but then they're catered towards families and children. So it kind of, I wouldn't say it takes away from it, but it's just, they can't go full on with it. Well, this is different. I mean, this Celebrity in general is more for that upper scale, that more adult crowd. And that's one thing I really haven't talked about much, because honestly, it wasn't an issue, but there weren't many kids. I think I probably saw maybe 2 or 3 kids on the entire cruise ship during my entire cruise. It was pretty phenomenal. And honestly, I can tell why, because this cruise ship was just beautiful. And it was nice to focus on this cruise ship and not be concerned about excursions or getting up early to do the flow ride or zip line, stuff like that. So a lot of people don't know, but about 2 weeks before this cruise, I was actually on a different cruise that spanned across 3 different continents. So Asia, Africa, Europe. I mean, I was all over the place. I mean, this is a 7-night cruise, but that was about a 10-day trip. And so, I mean, doing that at the beginning of November and then coming on this cruise afterwards, I was still pretty tired. So it was very nice to get to know this ship and not worry about all the crazy activities and just being able to just relax. I mean, this is what cruising is all about. Plus, we went to Nassau. I mean, what's so special about that? Now, around this time period, this is also when I finally went to Eden. I mean, I had heard so much about it, but I just, honestly, I could not find it. I'm like, where is this Eden place at? And it was literally right where I was looking at. I just missed the little entrance to it. And so it's off to the side. But once you find it, it's a whole expansive area. And it's literally different during the day than when it is during the nighttime. Oh my God. I wish I had found this earlier, because this is just such a beautiful place to go to. Check it out. Now, being that I usually do my tour early in the morning, once I get done, it's usually around breakfast time. So I did go to the buffet to check out and see what they had. Thankfully, it was nice and empty because it had just opened up. But once again, I was just blown away by the amount of options and just the variety and just how clean the buffet was. It was just a great experience. Now, keeping in line with the food, I did go to the Cosmopolitan for lunch. Now, once again, this is one of the 4 different included restaurants that they had. And so, like I said, I found a way to make it work. So I ended up going there for lunch, and then I did my 4th one for dinner. But this food was just so good. I mean, these mozzarella sticks were literally some of the best prepared mozzarella sticks I've ever had, period. And the same thing goes for this steak right here. Oh my God. It's just, I can't believe the best steak I've ever had was during lunch at an included restaurant on a cruise ship. I've had so many different types of steaks, and this is literally one of the best ones I've ever had. This thing cut like butter. Oh, it was phenomenal. Now, while I was eating lunch, I was on my phone just checking out the itinerary and stuff, and I happened to go on Facebook, and on the Facebook group, someone said something about how they had a seafood extravaganza in the buffet, and I'm just sitting here like, what? You gotta be kidding me. Like, I had a full breakfast, I had this amazing lunch, and they have a seafood extravaganza at the buffet. So of course I ran up there as soon as I could. I wasn't really hungry, but I wanted to see what they had, and oh, just check this out. I have never seen a buffet at any type of place. So whether it's Vegas, a cruise ship, somewhere here in Florida, I have never seen a buffet that includes filet mignon, crawfish, lobster, lamb. It was just ridiculous. The amount of food they had in there, it was phenomenal, y'all. Oh my God, it was so good. So of course I wasn't too hungry, but this is what I ended up getting. Now I'm going to quickly go by the next couple of activities because this was a sea day, so everyone was out and about, including myself. But one of the things I did see was they had a couple of different pool games going on, and one of the pool games was actually the crew versus the guest water volleyball. So that was pretty cool. Then after that, I went into the solarium to show off for the Cougars for a little bit. Then finally, once the main pool cleared out, I was able to get in there as well, and I was actually talking to this gentleman, and I hope you remember to find me on YouTube if you did, but it was nice meeting you. I was letting him know again that I was a solo cruiser and things like that, and he was pretty interested, so it was nice meeting you. Then afterwards, there was this illusion show starring Akon. My guy went from being locked up to doing magic tricks, moving up in the world. I'm just kidding, we all know Akon has hair now. But this guy really did look like Akon. I was like, what? It was just kind of surprising, but the show it was decent. Then a few moments later, they had this game show, and this was pretty different. It was like basically two people battling versus on questions and stuff like that. It was kind of drawn out, but I did like the setup. It looked pretty professional. It was pretty cool. But it just, like I said, it was very, very long.
For Michael once again, and the contender right here, Bridget, where you from? They fully support you. Is Vanna White the correct answer? Let's find out. It is. You get to stay in the champion.
Now, another thing as well that I really haven't talked about much, but this is one of my other favorite places on the ship, is this atrium. I mean, again, there was always something going on in here. And so, for example, I walked through a couple of different times, and each time there was either dancing or music or like that disco party, something going on. This time around, it was actually the bartenders. Check them out. And then there are also these guys with these violins coming by and just kind of getting in your face with their violin. It was just cool. Like, I really enjoy that interaction with the guests and with their cameras and stuff like that. It was such a great time. Now, also around this time, I met up with the vlogger that I was talking about that introduced me to this cruise. I didn't know anything about it till she had sent me a message. So I ended up hanging out with Sig Cruiser. Please, if you all haven't checked her channel out, please do. She's actually a fellow solo traveler as well. She's also gluten-free. She was pretty cool. We were over here having drinks and stuff like that. I told her I would throw her in the video. So shout out to you, Sig. And again, thank you for inviting me to this cruise. Now, it was finally time for dinner, and this time around I was going to check out the last and final included restaurant. This one was called Cyprus. Now, when it comes to Cyprus, their main signature items are dedicated to like Mediterranean food, and for me, I just finished doing a Mediterranean cruise, so I really wasn't too excited about it. I had ate that food for pretty much about 10 days. I was like kind of over it. But either way, it was good, except for this one item I got. It was disgusting. But I just wanted to be different, so it's not necessarily the cruise line. That was more me picking something that I knew I wouldn't like. Now, during my meal at Cyprus, I did meet another set of individuals, and I don't want to label you all wrong. I don't know if you're a couple, if it was the father and daughter. I don't really know. And believe me, I'm not hating. I love my cougars, and so I get it. That's what it was. But it was this younger woman and this older guy, and they were really cool. We were talking, so hopefully you all are watching. Hopefully you all found my channel. Again, it was really nice to talk to you all and explain to you about being a vlogger and stuff like that. It was a really good conversation. Now on night 3, they did have a final theater show, and this is like the main show of the cruise. It showed twice, but before I went there, I did want to go and check out Eden again because I just didn't spend enough time in there, and I wanted to see how it was during the nighttime. And even then, oh my god, phenomenal. I love this area of this cruise ship. Now, once I did make it to the theater show, I tried to figure out what seat I wanted to sit in. Someone had sat in my seat that I've had the past 2 nights, and so I went to the other side of the theater, but it just didn't feel the same for some reason, so I was just kind of conflicted. Eventually, I just sat down. It wasn't technically in the front, but it was off front to the side, and there was this cougar that sat beside me, and she was just like, "Oh my god, have you seen this show?" And I'm like, "No." Well, I was like, "I missed the first show when I was at Eaton." And she was like, "Well, I just came back from the first show, and it was so good, I just stayed in my seat, and I've been here ever since. I had to see it again." I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "Is it that good?" And I'm just sitting here scratching my head like, wow, I mean, I've seen a lot of cruise shows, and I mean, after a while, they all just kind of feel samey. And so I'm like, maybe this is her first show. I really didn't know, but when we were talking, she said that she had been on quite a few cruises, and this was her favorite show. So I'm like, wow, okay, it must be good. And I get it, and I agree with her 100%. So when it comes to shows that just have strictly dancing and singing and not acrobatics and water and stuff like the other shows I usually see, when it comes to that category, this is my favorite show. I mean, just the clarity of the music, the clarity of the stuff in the background, just how they interact with the crowd. Oh, and there was this one guy, and I thought about sitting there, but I was like, no, that's too close to the stage, it'll hurt my neck. But there was this one guy that was sitting there, it was a brother, and he was sitting there and just recording it all, and they were just giving him some of the best content I've ever seen. And I was kind of jealous, I'm not gonna lie. I was happy he was getting it, but I was kind of jealous. And then finally, I guess the girl could tell, so she started focusing on me as well. Celebrity, you all knocked it out the park with that. I loved this show. After that show, I was just so full of adrenaline, but it was time to kind of wind down and get my midnight swim and just kind of reflect and relax like I usually do. Now, they did have some party going on, but I could tell by the name of it, I just wasn't interested, so I skipped it. But I did go up to the pool deck, and then I did go to the solarium as well. And unfortunately, after a certain time period, they closed all the towel stations, and I didn't have a towel. So I could not get in the water. I could just kind of sit there, which I did, and put my feet in the water. But either way, just sitting there reflecting on this cruise, I'm just like, man, like this is the first cruise where I really didn't focus on excursions or do anything crazy. I literally just sat on the ship the whole time, and I enjoyed it. I mean, this is the first cruise where it really felt like it was adults only, outside of Virgin Voyages, which was adults only. And it was just, I mean, everything I wanted out of that Virgin Voyages cruise took place on this cruise ship. I mean, the vibe, the music, the shows, the drinks, I mean, just the look of the ship, the luxury feel, it's just everything. I mean, I just didn't expect to have this type of experience on a cruise ship. And so it just really hit me hard when I was out there and just walking around, just kind of taking things easy. I'm like, man, I really do love this cruise line. It was just such a good time. Wow, what a cruise. When it comes to day 4, I'll keep it nice and quick. This was the day that we got off the cruise ship. As far as the process itself, once we got going, it was fine. Unfortunately, they didn't know where we needed to go, and so it was just a big confusion as far as how we were actually getting off the cruise ship. So we ended up getting off for like some kitchen area. It was pretty weird, but everything was fine. As you all can see, I was able to get back to the parking lot by about 7:30 a.m. So not bad at all. And now it's time for my usual recap. This cruise ship was phenomenal. This cruise was phenomenal. I mean, I didn't know what to expect out of Celebrity, and I really am thankful that Sick Cruiser put this on my radar. I had been wanting to do Celebrity for a while, but I didn't know what would be the right type of cruise ship and the right length. There's so many variables that goes into booking a cruise, and I just didn't really know what to do. And so for her to bring this cruise to my attention, just wow. I mean, like most people that were on the cruise that I talked to, we all became instant fans. But unfortunately, and this again is why I'm happy that I don't rush to make videos and rush to make decisions, I cannot support a cruise line that intentionally goes out their way to punish solo cruisers. I mean, that's what built my channel. It's like, yeah, I know I have other people that watch my channel, but I make these videos primarily for solo cruisers. So it's really hard to try to even recommend a cruise line because I don't get promoted by these cruises. I don't promote cruise lines. I don't get paid by them, period. I'm not a shill. I don't get into that type of stuff. I just do my YouTube channel. I make honest reviews. Videos like this don't make any money. I just do them because I enjoy them. And so that is my biggest issue with Celebrity, is how they are treating solo cruisers. With that said, I mean, hopefully if things change in the future, or if you're not a solo cruiser, I would recommend it. But if you're a solo cruiser at this time period, unless you can find a solo room like I did, that's the only way I would recommend it. With that said, I hope you all enjoyed this video. I had to kind of knock the dust and the rust off and get ready for this Icon of the Seas inaugural sailing documentary. It should be a big deal. But until then, I'll see you next time. It's Mr. Bucket List. Peace out.